I'm Dave Canterbury, co-owner of Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School. And I started out in the woods when I was a kid with my father, and I was lucky enough to have two fathers from a very young age. And one of them was kind of an adventure seeker and liked to go to the lake and flew hang gliders and things and was a diver. And I had another father, my stepfather, who was more of a woodsman type individual who liked to hunt, fish, trap, and things like that. So I kind of got exposed to both of those worlds at a very young age. Spent lots of time in the woods, spent lots of time at the lake, spent lots of time on boats, and spent lots of time sleeping on the ground and in tents. So I got that exposure to the woodland environment and things from a very young age, and I loved it all the way through life. Later on in life, I joined the military like most guys do after they graduate high school, and learned a lot of good skills, learned discipline, learned hard work and things like that, although I was raised around a father who worked 7 days a week. So the work ethic was there ingrained in me before I ever went in the military. And after I got out of the military, I kind of bounced around a little bit, doing different things, from doing private security work to working on a reptile farm to being an animal control officer, and doing lots of things in the outdoors. Commercial fishing as a commercial diver on a net fishing boat. I did that for several years as well. And then I came back to my home where I came from in Indiana. I moved back there from Florida. And at that point, I kind of started getting into more primitive skills-based things like reenacting the 18th century. And with reenacting the 18th century and getting into things like primitive archery really drew me in because I wanted simplicity again. I thought everything's just too complicated. It should be simpler than that. And so I started studying primitive skills, learning that you really don't need a lot of things when you go to the woods to be comfortable. It's easier to smooth it if you're carrying less stuff on your back. If you only carry the important things, you only worry about the important skills, everything else becomes easy. And that led into teaching those skills that I had learned, from bow making to flint knapping to starting fires and making shelters, sleeping outside, navigation techniques that were beyond just map and compass. And those things led me into starting my own school. And I think that the skills of the frontier era are so important for us to not lose, because history tends to repeat itself. And sooner or later, things are going to circle back around to that pre-depression and depression environment, and even possibly back to frontier era 18th century type environment where we don't have the availability or can't afford to have electricity even when it is available, can't afford to buy food that's available, or can't get to the food that is available. And being able to live off the land, create our own tools, and build our own structures, and work with wood and work with metal are very important skills. And I think if we don't pass those skills on in this day and age, where kids grow up in the environment of computers and internet and cell phones and texting and selfies and FaceTime and all of that garbage, we're gonna lose it. And if we lose it and something does happen where we have to revert back to those old time skills, no one's gonna know them anymore. And our civilization is gonna be lost. So it's a passion of mine to be able to pass on those primitive type skills like hunting, fishing, trapping, woodworking, metalworking, and blacksmithing, and basically just living off the land for a chosen amount of time. It's easy to just walk out in the woods for me and stay as long as I want to stay and come back whenever I want to come back. To a lot of people, if they wander off the trail on a day hike, twist an ankle and can't get out that night and have to wander back the next morning, it becomes a survival situation. To me, that's inconvenient camping. And that's the way I think everyone should look at a situation like that. Barring traumatic injury, any emergency situation that you could encounter in a wilderness environment should really just be inconvenient camping if you've left a good game plan until someone comes to find you, or you can effect self-rescue. So those are the things that we teach here at the Self-Reliance Outfitters and Pathfinder School. We teach blacksmithing, we teach woodworking, we teach simple 72-hour scenario survival, and we teach longer-term pioneering type skills like self-mapping, setting up a permanent camp, trapping, tanning fur, processing food for the fire, preserving that food for a later time, harvesting wild edibles off the landscape, making medicinal concoctions and decoctions from medicinal plants and trees. Those skills to me are the most important, and they can't be lost. And so that's my passion here at the Pathfinder School, and my passion for the future, from not only the television shows that I've done, to the magazine articles I've written, to the books that I've written, like Bushcraft 101 and Advanced Bushcraft, and the book that I'm preparing to write now on bushcraft cooking and preserving food. All of those things, as well as my YouTube channel, are based on what I call passing on that tribal knowledge to the next generation.